I think as a company and as a community, we have a responsibility, whether it be morally or ethically or just simply professionally, we have a responsibility to stay with those families through the entire recovery period. We have 16 families there. More than 50 people are at the Augusta Burn Unit, and more when they have extended family visiting on the weekends. And we are concerned about them having access to churches, that faiths that they follow. We're concerned about their hotels. We continue to house our families there. It's not out of pocket on their behalf. We're covering the expenses of their housing. We're covering the expenses of their travel. We've provided them gas cards. We've provided them transportation. We've provided them telephone cards, because as you would expect, there's a lot of phone calls to families. And we will continue to support them, as we should. We're going to be responsible as this goes forward. And that, as you anticipate, will become more difficult as the event fades in the mind of the community. We will have to fill any void that's created when that occurs. We are providing a daily shuttle that goes to the hospital that allows family, employees, and friends to go. The hospital and the families have asked us to keep that to a manageable number, so 6 to 8 people go every day. We have a sign-up sheet, and we will continue to fill that sign-up sheet in advance so that we know that we have people that will be up there at the Augusta facility to help. The ignition source, there is no public comment with regard to what we or the investigators believe that was. ATF in their news conference as they were leaving the site, they did make their pronouncement that they believe that the explosion began at the base of the silos.
They don't know which one, or
they didn't say which one or how, and they left that to OSHA and the Chemical Safety Board to determine. There were 121 employees in the plant, or employees and contractors in the plant that night. They certainly have focused their initial their interviews with that group of people. And so they have talked to people that were in the packaging facility where the blast occurred. And the group that they've not been able to speak to, of course, we have 19 people at home that were injured and are recovering. And we have 16 people that are at the Augusta Burn Center. Okay, there's limited access to the people at the Burn Center because all of them are in a medically induced coma to help with the burn healing process, and so they can't speak with those people at this time. Those that are at home that would have been closest to the explosion have been talked to. Okay. Those that were on the site, that were working, that escaped the site without injury, they're being talked to. From there, then they will begin to interview the people that worked on the shift before to see if there was any trailing effects, and ultimately speak with the entire work population. I can tell you one employer has already called. There may have been others. That was very proactive. Colonial Oil has been a member of this community that has been remarkable. They made a very large donation to the SunTrust United Way fund, and have followed that up since with a phone call asking what can we do to help with regard to displaced workers. First, I should say I was hired in February of last year as the Chief Operating Officer. The plan at that time in the recruiting by the current CEO and the Board of Directors was to bring me in as a succession to him with a planned transition at the annual meeting, which we had on the 29th of January. My career background is in the chemical industry. I have worked since graduation in various chemical plants, from plastics to petrochemicals to food products to pharmaceuticals. And I have had an extensive amount of training in emergency response, disaster recovery. In the early part of my career, I participated in such drills. At the middle part of my career, I was the environmental safety and health manager of a chemical plant with 900 employees. I was responsible for the fire brigade. So I did the training with our firefighters, with all of the gear and the hoses and going through the smoke houses. I did all of those drills with our firefighters. Moving further in my career, when I was working in Brazil, I was responsible for 48 manufacturing plants all over Latin America. And one of my observations in assuming that role was that very few of our fire brigades had ever had formal training. And so I set up a 1-week training for all of our firefighters from around the continent or the region. We had over 200 firefighters come to Brazil for 1 week. We brought 2 very experienced trainers from the U.S. Both of them had taught at the Texas Fire School, that is the premier fire school in the United States. And we had a 1-week training with practical application, because there was a fire grounds where they could put out fires. They could do search and rescue at that manufacturing facility where we hosted the event. And we taught in English, Spanish, and Portuguese simultaneously for a week, and ended the event with a community drill where we did an evacuation of a school, evacuation of a community. We had helicopters involved in terms of evacuating simulated injuries, so the hospital was involved, and we involved the media in that particular drill, and gave our facilities an opportunity to experience what it would be like if they ever had to do it. First, 2 quick answers to that are faith and prayer. In a moment like this, you're called upon to have strength and poise and clearness of thought that is beyond what you normally would be expected to have. This community has been really very, very supportive. Perfect strangers will walk up to me on the street because they've seen one of the television interviews and say, "I saw you on television. I just want you to know I'm praying for you." All 9 of the men that died were Christian men. Strong Christian families, participating regularly in their churches, and that has carried the families through this loss in a very important way. But it also speaks loudly to who we are as a community here, and what the ideals are, what the values are. I feel that as an individual and a leader at this moment, the attributes and characteristics of this community. I've been invited in because of this event, and I feel supported, as all of you must feel supported by the characteristics of the community.